All right. So take a minute, get settled in your chair. And go ahead and sit forward in your chair, because eventually that's where we're going to be, sitting forward. Sit nice and tall. I'm not using any music today because I've gotten some feedback that sometimes the music is a little distracting, and I'm trying to speak a little louder. So we're working on our audio today. So start to slow your breath down, closing your eyes, and just allowing yourself to settle. Your body and your mind to just start to soften and relax. And let go of your to-do list. Anything that's distracting you, just let it go for now. Bring yourself into this moment. This breath. And you might notice when you start to get quiet, focus on your breath, eventually your mind starts to take you away. Your brain just wants to think. That's what it's there for. And so we come back to our breath every single time. Come back to an inhale and an exhale. And you could try counting your breaths. We're only going to do this for another 5 breaths. So let's see if we can stay with our breath for 5 breaths. Inhale and exhale. One more mindful breath. And now we're going to bring our attention to our necks as we start to make some circles with our heads. Nice and slow. Feel your neck. And inhale as your head comes up. And exhale as your head comes down. You keep your eyes closed or open your eyes softly. Just having that soft gaze. One more time in this direction. And when your head comes down to the front, pause there. And then reverse. Inhaling as you come up. Exhaling as you come down. Slow and easy. And let's do that one more time. And the next time your head comes down, pause there and relax your shoulders. Feel the space between your ears and your shoulders. And then on your next inhale, lift your head and exhale, tipping your head back until you feel a stretch around your throat. Breathe. Feel your breath. And then we'll inhale back to neutral and let our necks rest. All right. So now we're going to move down to our shoulders and our arms, upper chest, upper back. Bringing your arms down by your sides, turning your thumbs so they face behind you. Inhaling up, exhaling down to your heart. We'll do that 2 more times. Arms come down by your sides, turn your thumbs so they face behind you. And then inhale up and exhale down to your heart. One more time. And now turn your fingertips so they face forward. Keep your palms together. Maybe put a little pressure on your hands, just pushing your hands in towards each other. And see if you can keep that connection as you press your arms out parallel to the floor. Breathe into it. And when you're ready, bend your elbows and bring your hands back to your heart. Again, pressing your hands towards each other. And we're going to come up to about a 45-degree angle, so keep your palms together. Reach up, creating a V shape with your arms, maybe looking through that V shape, or just keeping your eyes staring straight ahead. And that soft gaze. And then bend your elbows and bring your hands back to your heart. And we're going to move our arms straight up. So reach up. You can look up if you like, or you can keep your head in neutral. And this time we're going to release our arms out to the sides. So turn your palms away from each other. And as you exhale, bring your arms down by your sides. And then when your arms come down, roll your shoulders. All right. So next we're going to do a side stretch and a spinal twist. So we're still warming up. So remember that we're not going into our full biggest side stretch or biggest spinal twist. So be gentle with yourself. Your right hand is on your thigh, your left arm reaches up, and maybe that's enough to start with. We haven't stretched the backs of our arms or down into our sides yet. So just notice how that feels to lift your left arm up. And if that feels okay and you want a little deeper stretch, lean to the right and take a few breaths. One more breath. And inhale as you release your left arm down. Exhale, raise your right arm up and reach up and pause there, just reaching up. You could stay there if you like, or lean gently to the left. One more breath. And then as you inhale, release your right arm down. And then as you exhale, roll your shoulders again. And we're going to do one spinal twist on each side. We're going to make them very small. And then we'll do a few more stretches and then we'll come back to the spinal twist and just see if there's any difference. We notice any difference. So keep your legs facing forward. Excuse me, and then turn gently to the right. So just a tiny bit. Just enough to start feeling that twist. And then breathe into it. One more breath. And on your next inhale, slowly come back to center. And on your exhale, slowly move to the left just a little bit. If you were doing percents, like we do sometimes, 30%. So not a big twist at all. Notice any resistance or tightness in your body. Maybe try to soften around those areas. One more breath. And again, on an inhale, come back to center. And this time, keep your hands on your thighs and roll your shoulders. So this helps you to focus on your shoulders and your chest and your sides as you make these shoulder rolls with your hands on your thighs. All right. And then we're going to move into cat and cow next. So when you're ready, find neutral. You might slide your hands down toward your knees and then round your back into cat pose. And again, make it small. We're still warming up. On your next inhale, lift back up to neutral, and then exhale into cow pose, arching your back. Just enough to start feeling that stretch. One more breath. And then on your next inhale, come on back to neutral and just rest for a couple breaths. Next, we're going to move into spinal rotations. We're going to start small and get bigger. So when you're ready, just start to make some small circles with your torso. You're sitting up tall and you really are using your core muscles. You can put your hand on your belly if you want to feel it, to remind yourself how complicated this could be, but your body knows what to do. Once you start to make these small circles, your body takes over. You don't have to think about it. Kind of nice. Once your body learns something, you don't really have to remember much. You just start the process. Let your body take over from there. So now we're going to start to make these circles a little bigger. So you find yourself leaning forward, to the sides, to the back. Big circles. Doesn't matter which direction you started in. We're going to reverse everything in just a minute. Big spinal rotations. Take up as much space as you can comfortably. One more time in this direction. And then when you find yourself in neutral again, pause and reverse into another big spinal rotation in the other direction. And now we're going to start to make these circles smaller. A little bit each time. Until you're sitting upright, making those small little circles that you started with, using all your core muscles. And then bring yourself back to neutral and pause. Now we're going to do another cat and another cow pose. So round your back. Notice if you have a little more flexibility this time. Maybe your back feels a little less tight, more willing. And now on your next inhale, lift up and exhale into cow pose. So you could call this a 50% cow pose. You're going halfway. And now let's flow in and out of cat-cow with our breath. Let's just do it 3 times today. Inhaling to neutral, exhaling to cat pose. Inhale neutral, exhale cow. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time. And then we'll make our way back to neutral again and pause. So relax your back, relax your shoulders, your hands and your arms. And then we're going to move back to spinal twist. And this time we're going to come as far as we can comfortably. So it might only be halfway. It might be the full spinal twist. So go ahead and turn to the right and notice where the edge of comfort is. When you start to feel uncomfortable, back off. And just stay right there and breathe into it. And I say this a lot, yoga is all about awareness. And it only makes sense if you practice yoga. I could say that all day long and you wouldn't understand it unless you experienced what we're experiencing right now. The fact that your body has a limit and you're aware of that limit and you know how to back off, but still how to get some benefit out of this stretch. Again, your body is remembering this. Your brain doesn't have to do too much in this pose here. And let's take 2 more breaths. Then on your next inhale, slowly come back to center. And on your exhale, start to move to the left. Take your time, finding your twist on this side. And then once you feel settled, find your breath again. One more breath. And now on your next inhale, come on back to center. Once you get there, roll your shoulders, move your ribs, move your whole upper body. So you should be feeling a little more warm, a little more flexible from your waist up. And then we're going to do one long forward fold. So with your hands on your thighs, so now we're moving into our low back. So this is again another opportunity to become aware of your edge, aware of, how far can I go without hurting myself. We don't want to hurt ourselves. Hands on your thighs, hinge at the hips, and just come down a little ways. We're going to stay here for a little bit, so we'll eventually start to move down a little more. So just find a place that's pretty comfortable, no big deal. And maybe that's where you want to stay today. It's your body. You get to choose. But if you want a little deeper stretch, come down a little more. Keeping your back flat to begin with. So don't let your back round because then you lose that stretch in your low back. Keep your back as flat as you can as you come down closer to your thighs, staying in your comfort zone. And if you find that you've come down as far as you can with your back flat and you're still got some space, slide your hands down your legs, let your head drop down, and now your back can start to round. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Before you come up, make sure your hands are on your thighs and you're using your arms. Press down on your legs. Use your arms to lift yourself up. That takes pressure off of your back. Protects your back. And usually we'll feel a little bit dizzy. So we want to pause here, maybe roll your shoulders or move your head again. And just get your equilibrium. And then we're going to stand up and come around behind our chairs. We'll warm our legs up from standing today. right. So starting in mountain pose. And frequently it's good to look down at your feet. And ideally, if it's possible for you, you want the inside edges of your feet parallel to each other. And some of us, that's just not possible, but you want to feel comfortable. You don't want to feel any pressure, with 1 foot forward and 1 foot back or 1 foot farther out to the side. We will take a wide stance. I know I'm explaining a lot more today. But mountain pose is basically standing with awareness. So feel your feet. Feel your knees. Make sure your knees are not locked back. Your knees are soft. Feel your hands. You can actually bring your hips. You can bring your hands to your hips and just feel the strength in your hips. And maybe tuck your tailbone. So that adds a little extra strength here. You just very gently tuck your tailbone, press your tailbone down. It engages your core muscles. And then roll your shoulders down your back. This is a good, strong mountain pose. And then we're going to do some ankle circles. So now we are going to warm up our legs. So your hands can be on the chair or your hips, shifting to the left, lifting your right foot, making some circles with your foot. And reverse. And then come back to neutral and point and flex. And then flex your foot and hold it. And then bring your foot back down to the mat, back to mountain pose. And we'll repeat on the other side. So shift your weight to the right, lift your left foot, and make some circles. So we're going slow and easy today. And then reverse. And then come on back to neutral and point and flex. Lift and lower. And then flex your foot and keep it flexed. And then relax your left foot back down to mountain pose. Do one more leg stretch. We're going to do a calf stretch, and then we'll start to move into our bigger yoga poses. So starting in mountain pose, nice comfortable mountain pose. And we don't always have to do all that engaging core and tucking our tailbones, but we want to be strong and stable in mountain pose before we do anything else. And then step your right foot back. And you may look down at your feet and make sure both feet face forward. It's okay if your back foot turns a little. It's just a little different stretch. But we're really emphasizing the length in the back of your right leg. So press into your right heel. And that's a good reason to have this chair here. This is not very stable without the chair, I don't think. Some people can have their hands on their hips here, but I think it's a little bit unstable. So I like having a chair. And now step forward, back to mountain pose. And step your left foot straight back. Look down at your feet. Make sure they're both facing forward. Your front leg is bent slightly so that you can really emphasize pressing into your back heel. One more breath. And step forward, mountain pose again. And let's just pause here for just a couple breaths. All right, shake your arms, shake your legs. We're heading into the work portion of our class today. We're going to do a warrior 1 flow. We're going to have a warrior 3 in that flow, and we're going to add an extra shoulder stretch. And this is how it looks with your arms. We've done it before. Just giving you a heads up. So we start facing our chairs in mountain pose. And then step your right foot back, and it does not need to be facing forward. It is at a slight angle. Bending your left knee, making sure you have a nice strong foundation, because this is where your legs are going to be for the next 5 poses. And then once you feel stable, decide if you want to keep your hands on the chair, hands on your hips. I'm going to go through all the variations of arm positions, so you choose where you want your arms for warrior 1. What happens when you start moving around? Belly pulled in. One more breath. And now bring your arms down by your sides. Bring your hands to your hips. Slide your thumbs in towards each other, and you've opened your chest. We're preparing for that big chest opener. We're going to get there, but right now we're just starting that stretch. So press your thumbs in towards each other. Your elbows start to move towards each other. And you can feel this in the fronts of your shoulders, tops of your arms, across your chest, little arch in your back. And then slide your arms down by your sides. We're coming back to warrior 1. So choose your arm position again, wherever you want your arms. This is where we're going to do that big chest opening. So interlace your fingers. I'm going to turn and face the camera again. Our legs have not moved. So interlace your fingers, bend your elbows, bring your hands behind your head, but don't put any pressure on your head. And then just press your elbows open. If this bothers your shoulders, keep your elbows forward. You can still stretch your chest this way. So play with it. Find your comfort zone again. One more breath. Lift your arms up, bring your palms together and down to your heart. Feel your shoulders relax. And then turn gently to the left for a little twist. And now you're facing your chair. You're going to be able to use your chair for warrior 3. I'm going to try it without my chair. So we'll see how that goes. Go ahead and come back to center. You can keep your hands at your heart or reach out and find your chair. You can also have your hands on your hips. Engage your core muscles. Shift forward and keep your right big toe on the floor to start with. And that might be it. That might be where you stay. And if you like, start to lift your right leg up into warrior 3. and release. All right. Shake your arms and legs. So that was 5 poses. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. This time I'm going to stay facing the chair so you can see it a different way. If what I just didn't make sense. All right. So mountain pose. Step your left foot back. Build your foundation. For warrior one, I'm not going to talk as much this time. Find your arm position and then find your breath. One more breath. And then we're going to do that little chest opener. So you can do the same thing we did before with hands on your hips, thumbs in towards each other, or you can just lay the backs of your hands on your low back and press your elbows towards each other. One more breath. And now release your arms, release your chest, come back to warrior one for just a couple breaths. And then we're going to head right into that big chest opener. Go ahead and bring your palms together, interlace your fingers, bring your hands behind your head, hands resting on the back of your head, and then press your elbows back. So you still have a little arch in your back. There's no pressure on your head. All the effort is around your chest. One more breath. And then as you inhale, lift your arms up, bring your palms back together and down to your heart. Feel your shoulders relax. Your legs haven't moved. And now we're going to do a small twist to the right. So when we're in this sequence here, we're always twisting towards the bent knee. One more breath. And then slowly come back to center and prepare for warrior three. So remember your options, hands on the chair, hands on your hips, belly pulled in, shift forward, left big toe on the floor, or start to lift your left leg up. One more breath. And release. Come back to mountain pose. Shake your arms and legs. And we're just going to do some hip circles now. We don't really have time for a long Qigong. So we'll do some hip circles. That's going to help to relieve any tension in your low back. So take a wide stance with your hands on your hips. And very slowly, very mindfully, start to circle your hips. We're just breathing naturally. The next time you come back, pause there and then reverse. And we're doing 6 to 8 of these. Just depends on how fast or slow you move. And sometimes the numbers matter, but usually it's just a matter of how does it feel. You know, if you're doing this on your own and you want to do more of these, go for it. If you want to do fewer, you can also go for that and just rest. One more time. And then we come back to neutral. We're going to keep our hands on our hips and do one more pose. An airplane pose. Hands on your hips, belly pulled in, knees soft. Then hinge at the hips and come down halfway so you're parallel to the floor. And you can keep your hands on your hips. Make sure your neck is in neutral. And again, you know, you have options for your arms here. If it's more comfortable, slide your hands down to your thighs, or you can bring your arms out like an airplane. And then if you like to come into forward fold, go ahead and come all the way down into forward fold. Otherwise, bend your knees, bring your hands to your thighs, use your arms to lift yourself up. Take a minute and get your equilibrium. And then step back towards mountain pose. Your legs a little shake. And then we're going to come right back to our chairs. Time sure flies. Seems like these classes go by so fast. So go ahead and settle in your chair, slide back into your chair so you can relax. You still have good posture, but we're not focused on our posture so much. You want to focus on relaxing. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And as you exhale, imagine releasing stress and tension. Anything negative, anything that doesn't serve you, let it go. Just breathe it out. And don't try to name it, just breathe out. Every exhale is an opportunity to let go. Feel your body soften. Surrender to the chair. And then slowly, mindfully, start to deepen your breath. And then start to move your hands, move your feet, maybe move your head. Opening your eyes. And then we'll end our class the way we always do with our favorite word, namaste. So rub your hands. Remember, namaste means the light in me sees the light in you. So it just reminds us that we're all good. We all have light. Even when we don't feel it or we can't see it, it's there. Open your hands out to the sides. Inhale up. Exhale down to your heart and bow forward. Namaste.